Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Phillips, and I like to say that broadly the work that comes out of my lab concerns a central question, and that question is, what does it mean for robots and other autonomous machines to be human-like? And we mean that both in the literal sense. We mean how they're designed and how they appear human, but we also mean it in the figurative sense. So we think a lot about whether or not they behave or act or even feel in human-like ways. And we also mean in human-like that can also include things like whether or not their behavior aligns with human value systems, like their norms, social and moral norms. In our particular work, we think that this is a particularly interesting question and one that the behavioral sciences are really uniquely poised to address. I'm curious actually what you all think about the robots that you may have seen trundling around our campus today and whether or not you think of them as social or even moral in nature. So one of the reasons why this is a particularly important question is because people are no longer asking whether or not robots will be included in social contexts. In fact, we're already seeing them being included in places in service sectors, in hospitals, as astronauts, but we're also seeing them perform roles as caregivers and these more socially sensitive contexts. So a critical need that we like to address is, we would say, what is a critical need for these robots to have is something called norm competence. Norm competence is this idea that these machines can understand, follow, and prioritize the norm systems of the communities in which they'll be embedded. But there is a critical challenge aside from just computationally implementing norms in machines, which some of our collaborators have actually made some progress in doing. A central challenge to getting robots to adhere to norms is that norms conflict with one another all the time. So humans handle these types of situations a lot. So a popular example that I like to give is in safety critical contexts, I might speak to you in ways that are very direct or terse, and in other contexts might be seen as impolite. But I prioritize the safety norm, but at the expense of the politeness norm. So a critical question then becomes, what do we do in these inevitable situations where some robots need to violate some norms some of the time? We need to be able to give them tools for mitigating the problems that come with that. So my colleague Eileen did a lovely job of mentioning explainable systems and explainable AI. We take some of that work one step further, and we talk about justifiable systems and justifiable decision making. So we would argue that it's not enough for robots just to tell you what they did, but we want them to tell you why they did it. What are the norms that were upheld in the moral and social decisions that they were engaging in? So our lab seeks to answer those questions, and we have some excellent results that show that when robots do justify their social and moral decision making, it can help people think of them as being trustworthy. We are making some progress in computationally implementing those, and we think that this is a critical step forward in making socially and morally relevant machines that will be embedded in our everyday lives. So I'll stop there. I'm very hopeful and looking forward to your questions. You'll actually hear from one of my students later, so thank you so much.